Good morning, students. Myself, Dr. Raghusudha, Assistant Professor, Department of Microbiology, Government City College, Hyderabad, is here to talk on rickettsia. Rickettsia are bacteria which are obligate intracellular parasites. They are considered as a separate group of bacteria because they have the common feature of being spread by arthropod vectors like lice, fleas, mites, and ticks. The cells are extremely small of size of diameter 0.25 microns, rod shaped, coccoid, and often pleomorphic in shape, which have typical bacterial cell wall, no flagella. They are gram negative and multiply via binary fission only inside the host cells. The hosts of rickettsia: tick, flea, lice, and mite. They occur singly or in pairs or in strands. Most species are found only in the cytoplasm of the host cells, but those which cause spotted fevers multiply in nuclei as well as in the cytoplasm. In the laboratory, they may be cultured in living tissues such as embryonated chicken eggs or vertebrate cell cultures, just like viruses. This is the diagram of rickettsia inside a cell, multiple rod-shaped rickettsia multiplying inside the cell cytoplasm. The family Rickettsiaceae is taxonomically divided into three genera: Rickettsia, Ehrlichia, Coxiella, and Bartonella. There are actually four genera. Rickettsia comprises of 11 species, obligate intracellular parasites which do not multiply within vacuoles and do not parasitize white blood cells. Ehrlichia comprises of two species. These are obligate intracellular parasites which do not multiply within vacuoles but do parasitize white blood cells. So the difference between Rickettsia and Ehrlichia is Rickettsia do not parasite white blood cells, Ehrlichia parasitize white blood cells. Coxiella comprises of one species. These are also obligate intracellular parasites which grows preferentially in the vacuoles of the host cell. So this is how Coxiella is different from Rickettsia and Ehrlichia. It grows in the vacuoles of the host cell. Bartonella comprises of three species. These are intracellular parasites which attack the RBC. Structure of rickettsia. The typical rickettsia is very similar to that of gram-negative bacteria. The typical envelope consists of three major layers: an innermost cytoplasmic membrane, a thin electron-dense rigid cell wall, and an outer layer. The outer layer resembles typical membranes in its chemical composition and its fine laminar appearance. The cell wall is chemically similar to gram-negative bacteria in that it contains diaminopimelic acid and lacks teichoic acid. Intracytoplasmic invaginations of the plasma membrane form mesosomes, and ribosomes are also seen. There are no discrete nuclear structures. Growth and multiplication of rickettsia. Rickettsia normally multiply by transverse binary fission. Under poor nutritional conditions, rickettsia cease dividing and grow into long filamentous forms which subsequently undergo rapid and multiple divisions into the typical short rod forms when fresh nutrient is added. Immediately after division, the rickettsia engage in extensive movements through the cytoplasm of the cell, whereas C. bonati differs from other rickettsia in that it is enclosed in a persistent vacuole during growth and division. 6 to 10 daughter cells will form within a host cell before the cell ruptures and releases them. Pathogenicity. In their arthropod vectors, the rickettsia multiply in the epithelium of the intestinal tract. They are excreted in the feces but occasionally gain access to the arthropod salivary glands. They are transmitted to man via the arthropod saliva through a bite. In their mammalian host, they are found principally in the endothelium of the small blood vessels, particularly in those of the brain, skin, and heart. Hyperplasia of endothelial cells and localized thrombus formation leads to obstruction of the blood flow with escape of RBCs into the surrounding tissue. Inflammatory cells also accumulate about infected segments of the blood vessels. This angiitis appears to account for some of the more prominent clinical manifestations such as petechial rash, stupor, and terminal shock. Death is ascribed to damage the endothelial cells, resulting in leakage of plasma, decrease in blood volume, and shock. Endotoxins. It is assumed that the observed clinical manifestations of the rickettsial infections are due to production of an endotoxin. This endotoxin is quite different in physiological effects from that produced by the members of the Enterobacteriaceae. This is inferred although the toxin has not been isolated from these facts. IV injected rickettsia cause rapid death in experimental animals. UV radiation of rickettsia diminished their infectivity without reducing toxicity. The use of anti-rickettsial drugs does not prevent rapid death in the experimental animals. Antiserum specific for cell wall antigens of rickettsia prevents toxic effect. Rocky Mountain spotted fever caused by Rickettsia rickettsii. Rocky Mountain spotted fever is potentially lethal but usually curable tick-borne disease, and it is the most common rickettsial infection caused by Rickettsia rickettsii. The disease usually occurs with highest frequency during the warmer months when tick activity is greatest. Incubation period is 7 days. Symptoms. The onset of the disease is heralded by high fever and headache that may be associated with malaise, myalgia, nausea, vomiting, abdominal pain, and diarrhea. A macular rash may develop after 3 or more days and typically appears initially on wrist, ankles, and palms and soles and then spread to the trunk. The rash can evolve to the spotted or petechial form, which is a harbinger of more severe disease and hemorrhagia. Image of spotted disease. Complications of Rocky Mountain spotted fever includes neurologic manifestations like encephalitis, pulmonary and renal failure, and cardiac abnormalities. The patient may die within 5 days of onset of symptoms, with the overall mortality rate being nearly 4% despite effective antibiotic therapy. Risk factor for fatal infection includes older age, glucose 6 phosphate dehydrogenase deficiency, and delayed tetracycline treatment. Staining techniques. Presumptive laboratory diagnosis is based on the finding of rickettsial-like organism in tissue or blood. Although the organisms are gram negative, they only weakly take the counter stain safranin. Therefore, special staining procedures are used. Infected tissue may be stained with Machiavello stain, organisms of bright red against blue background of the tissue. Second stain is Castaneda stain, blue organisms against red background. Giemsa stain, bluish purple organisms. Serological test. Confirmatory diagnosis is based on serological reactions. Will-Felix reaction, in which the titer of the agglutinins in the patient's serum against Proteus strain OX19, OX2, and OXK are determined. These Proteus strains have no etiological role in rickettsial infections but appear to share antigens in common with certain rickettsia. These antigens are alkali stable polysaccharide haptens, which are distinct from the group specific and type specific antigens. In interpreting the results, it must be kept in mind that protease infections are fairly common, especially in the urinary tract, and that they too may evoke antibodies to the protease OX strains. This test is usually positive 7 days after the initial infection. A more specific complement fixation test is available but does not show positive results until 14 days into the infection. Indirect fluorescent antibody test is also used for the detection of IgM, IgG antibodies against rickettsia. In fact, this is the diagnostic test of choice for ehrlichiosis. The rickettsial diseases of man are usually broken down according to the arthropod vector as seen in the table below. Loose-borne diseases are European epidemic typhus caused by Rickettsia prowazekii and Well-Felix response to OX19. Brill's disease, Rickettsia prowazekii, negative for Well-Felix test. Trench fever, Bartonella quintana, negative for Well-Felix test. Second, flea-borne diseases are endemic murine typhus, cat scratch fever or bacillary angiomatosis. Endemic murine typhus occurs due to Rickettsia typhi. Animal reservoir is wild rodents. Well-Felix response is to OX19. Cat scratch fever or bacillary angiomatosis is caused by Bartonella henselae. Animal reservoir is domestic cat. Well-Felix response is not known. The next host is mite. Mite-borne diseases are scrub typhus and rickettsial pox. Scrub typhus is caused due to Rickettsia susugumushi, wild rodent, response to OXK. Rickettsial pox caused by Rickettsia acari, house mice, negative for Well-Felix response. Tick-borne diseases are Rocky Mountain spotted fever caused by Rickettsia rickettsii. Reservoirs are dog and rodents. Response to OX19 and OX2. North Asian tick typhus caused by Rickettsia siberica. Wild rodents are the hosts. Response to OX19 and OX2. Fiber Bontanus, Rickettsia conori. Hosts are dog and rodents, OX19 and OX2. Queensland tick typhus, Rickettsia australis. Reservoirs are marsupials and rodents. It shows response to OX19 and OX2. Q fever, Coxiella burnetii, cattle, sheep and goats, negative for Well-Felix test. Spotted fever, Rickettsia rhipicephaly, reservoir dogs, unknown. Ehrlichiosis caused by Ehrlichia canis, dogs, negative. Ehrlichiosis caused by Ehrlichia schaffinensis, reservoir or dogs, negative for Well-Felix test. Fly-borne or Oroyo fever or Verruga peruana caused by Bartonella bacilliformis, has no reservoir and unknown for Well-Felix test. Chemotherapy. The drugs of choice for the treatment of rickettsia diseases are chloramphenicol and tetracycline. Each of these is highly toxic, especially in children, and must be used with care. Sulfonamides stimulate rickettsial growth and thus are contraindicated in the treatment of these diseases. Thank you.